everyone, this is Bev from Art by Bedell, and I have another prompt for you for Junk Journal January on, January, it is the 24th, and the prompt is fabric. I want to use this page in my journal, and I'm going to work outside the page and then bring it in and add it to the journal. So for my page, I have a piece of Echo Print fabric. Now this was done with a Sasebo technique where you use your die cut machine with your leaves. And then I want a pocket on the bottom of this. So I have another piece of Echo Print fabric. Now this one was with the boiled technique, and it was just some extra fabric I put in with the bath, and it got the color but no print. And so that'll make a nice pocket. I also want to add some of this ribbon, this webbing type ribbon that you can find at Dollar Tree sometimes. To do this, I want to go ahead and stitch all the way around this, and then I'll be back. There I have it all stitched together. Now I think that I'm going to put a piece of cardstock down in there so this won't stick. There, we'll just slide this down in here so when I glue my things together, it will be okay, I think. I have some flowers that I had laminated that I had found out alongside the road, and they're called a phlox. And I would like to, actually I should have sewn them on there before I did this. I always don't think things through. I don't know if anybody else has that same issue. Anyhow, and then I have this that I'd like to add down here at the bottom too. I need to ink up around the edge of this. There we go. It's possible, yes, that I could stitch these together like that. So let me get some embroidery floss here on a needle. I'm going to use this ivory color that I already have. Put a knot in the end. And then what I'll do is I'll come up through the back of my pocket. Let's see, that looks like a good place to sew them on. And then I'll take my 3 flowers. I want the biggest one in the back and then the tallest. So I want facing that way. And then the shortest. And then what I'm going to do, actually what would be a good idea is to put a dab of glue in between them so that they stay in place and don't move around so much for me. And let's see if that's what we want. Look like a bouquet of flowers, and then we're going to glue them down. We're going to do the glue anyhow on the back of them. Glue them down. They're slippery. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to actually let that sit and dry, and then we'll go back, and after it dries, then we'll go back and we'll do this stitching on them, because I really do want to do the stitching on it. And we'll put this over here, but we're not going to do it yet. Okay, so we're going to set this aside. And while that's drying, we're going to work on a journal card for inside there. I have some dried rhododendron leaves. Let me ink up around the outside edge of my cardstock here. I don't really know the full size to this because I just tore it. I didn't measure. I am going to put a little bit of gesso on here just to give our flowers a lighter background to sit on. Now, I don't want to cover the whole piece of cardstock, just like that much. And then I'll let that dry. Actually, I'm going to take the heat gun to it. And then for the glue that I'm going to use for this, for my leaves, how cool is it to have dried flowers in January? Something to work with in your journal that brings you some hope of spring is coming, it's coming. I can't wait to see the rhododendrons. I can't wait to see like absolutely everything, really. So we will get these glued down, 2 leaves and several flower petals. Put that like there. And then I have this little one. That's the back side. Put that one like it's peeking out there. I have this bigger one I want to go on the bottom, and it'll go right there. And the stamens to it, they had fallen off, but I'm going to glue them back on. And then I have another flower boat that I'm going to put right. All right, so I have that, and they are glued in place. And now I want to take some, all right, so what I found that I want to use is my Golden Matte Medium. I want to cover the whole front of this with a layer of glue. When I get to my flowers, I'll just pat it down. All right, so I have a good layer of matte medium all the way covering this whole front of this card. Now I have a tea bag, and I'm going to cover that all up with my tea bag. And then I'm going to start toward the center and work my way out and add another layer of matte medium. Now this should help my tea bag go a little translucent, and the flowers should be poking through. Let's try not to do any air bubbles. Seems to want to be an air bubble right there, right where the leaf is thicker. Now I don't know if I can get this back up. I can. So let's see if we take that leaf up and then smooth that back out. And if you do find air bubbles, if you pounce on it a little bit, you can work some of that out. All right, so I have this all covered. We're going to set this aside to dry, and we're going to pull back our page that we were working on and see if we can get our flowers glued down. They're not really dry yet, but I'm hoping that it's enough to hold this while I stitch it in place. So I'm just going to go around it. Let me see here. To go around it, I'm going to have to poke a hole in it. So we're going to poke a hole in our plastic, and hopefully we can come up through that and just make like, yes, like that. Back up through the same hole each time, if I can. Pull it tight. I'm going to go around this several times in hopes that this will actually hold the flower on. One more time here, I think we'll do it. And then I'll sew a knot here in the back and clip my threads. Now let's see what we have here. Yes, I think that'll be fine. If the glue dries, it'll dry clear. We won't see that, and that will be fine. All right, let me hold it up so you can see it. Here we go. Ignore the glue at this point. Now over here, I want to glue the label down, and I'll just use some tacky glue for that also. And I don't want to go right directly on top of my stitching because I do want to see my stitching. So I'm putting it just to the side of it. Actually, if it's under that flower, that would be even better. So there's my label for there. And then I want to put the number label centered on top of that. And that will create our cute little pocket for our tag that we're building, just like that. And then we have this that will go down, or our tag when we get it, will go down inside there. So up on top, I have a quote. And I thought I decided on putting, I don't see what I did with it, but I thought I had a piece of something to put under that. And I'm thinking that fabric that we've been using in our book. Let me see how it looks on this page. Not so well, so no on that. But I do have a piece of the Echo Print that the pocket's made out of, and I could put it on there. Now it's bigger than that. I can cut that down, and then it fits. So we'll ink up the edge, and that's going to go on there with a little bit of glue. That will determine our length of our piece of fabric. And then we can snip off the excess of that and fray it a little bit. All the other edges are frayed. Keep pulling from the wrong part there. I want these little ones. There we go. Now that doesn't stand out very well at all. So let's put something else under that. Now I could go with a tea bag. I could go with some more of that green ribbon. I don't think I want to go with that. That's just too much, I think. So let's look into a tea bag. Because we have tea bag on our card, I think this will fit in here nicely on the top here. Again, it doesn't seem to pop. There's just not enough of a contrast between any of that for this to be up here. I need something darker. Now let me bring back the green ribbon and cut it down to size and see what we think of it after that. I mean, that would give us some color. So then if we had the tea bag and then the green ribbon and then this, does that make it enough to pop? It is not resonating with me at all. Get rid of the tea bag. Okay, that's what I'm going to go with right there. So I will take my needle again and my embroidery floss, and I'm just going to tack that down on the two sides. I'll put just a little bit of glue behind it so it stays where I want it. It may not because of this ribbon that I'm using. Put that there. And then this here. And let's see how this goes, guys. Let's see how this goes, right? What I want to do is I want to come up through all the layers there and then down through. And I want to stitch like just a running stitch up through here in as straight a line as what I can do. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side of it. All right, so that is stitched on. Now we can enter this page in our journal. We'll bring our journal back and our page, and it's going to go on here like this. And I am going to, it's going to hang over a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to, instead of taking it all the way to the spine, because my spine's rolled a little, I'm just going to bring it out, which means that it's going to stick out on the back side a little bit like that. And you know what? That actually looks pretty cool, so I'm fine with that. So I'm going to cover this whole page with some fabric glue, all but in where the spine is rolling. I take my finger and smooth that out. Taking it all the way to the edge on the front. Not quite to the edge on the spine. I have that all spread out, and then I will take this and I'm going to start on the spine side and put that down in place about where I think it should go, and try to keep it even on the front side. And we have a little bit of room to play with here with our glue, which is good. So I'm going to pull this out a little bit because it's going to show here more than what it's going to show on our spine. And so I want it to look as good as I can on the other side. That looks pretty good. It's not perfectly even, but it's okay. So now I'll just make sure this all gets pressed on really well. And the excess glue at the bottom, we'll get rid of that. Make sure it's pressed on along our spine here. Keeping track of how we're doing over here. Looks pretty good. I think our page is glued in. There we go. We have a nice little pocket. Now I'm going to take the heat gun. Well, I'll be back for this. I'm going to take the heat gun and I'm going to see if I can get this to dry a little bit quicker. I'll be back. All right, so that's pretty dry, but you can still see spots where it's not totally clear. This is going to take a little bit of time to dry. Now, the edges, my tea bag sticks out a little bit. I'm good with that. I'm really good with that. Now, should I add something more to this, or am I happy with just what we have going on here? I'm thinking I will put some lines on the back for journaling, and yeah, I'll just leave that plain. We'll just put some lines on it. I won't paint it first with gesso. Use some black ink here. There we go. Normally I would pull something from the front to the back, but I'm not going to glue on more flowers on the back of this. I'm going to just leave it all for journaling back there. But on the front here, I think I just want to add like maybe some, how about I add some French knots in, let's do this white color here. Actually, I don't have enough strands on that. I have one that's longer that I'll just double up so that I have 4 strands. A French knot looks a little bit better if you have more strands of floss on it, in my opinion. And do I want them on? No, I'm not going to put them on the flower. I'm going to put them beside the flower. So if you've never done a French knot, what you do is you bring your needle up through to the top of where you're going to put your French knot. You will take your thread, you'll wrap it around your needle 3 times. Back down through, and I tend to keep a hold of this tail. Back down through the same hole and keep this pulled a little taut. Don't have your threads all loose because your French knot will be tighter if you have it pulled taut. And then you have a little French knot. So I'm going to add at least 3, maybe more. Let's see what 3 looks like. Wrap it around 3 times, back down through, pull this taut, otherwise we'll get a sloppy French knot. 3. Let's go ahead, we've got some room there, and do 5 of them. Whatever I do, usually in art, actually in interior decorating also, 3 is the magic number, or an odd number is the magic number. And look at that, way down under screen. Okay, let me bring it, let's do 7. You know what, it's going to be in the shape of a flower. So I'm going to pull my needle up through from the back to the front where I want my French knot to be. I am going to wrap it around 3 times, around the needle 3 times. Then I'm going to take my needle, put it down through the same hole, hold this tail taut, and pull my needle all the way through. And then I'm going to go ahead and do another one. I will have an odd number then, and I'll also have a flower shape. There we go. I kind of like that. All right, we'll just leave that and tie a knot. Now we have a mess on the back. Trying to think what I could cover that with, because I do want to cover that. That's kind of a mess. Sometimes I don't mind a knot on the back, but if it's a mess like this, that's just not really very nicely done. That's cute. I think that's enough. By the time this clears dry, I'm going to be really happy with that. Our flower is safe and secure there. Now I do have a piece of tea bag. I could just double that up so that I hide it, hide my mess here, and glue that on. Yes, that's what I'll do. And then I'll find something little just to put on top of that. Let me see what I might have for a little flower or something here. Okay, I'm liking this right here, just this little piece. Ink up around the edge of that and glue that down. And then we have our tag done. There's our flower. And then there's our French knots. Okay, pull our book back out here, our journal. And here is our pocket. I'm going to slide this down in here so we can see how it looks, but I'm not going to leave it until I know that it's dry. And there is our completed page for fabric in my journal. All right, guys, thanks for watching. You have a great day, and we shall see you again soon. Bye now.